on. But please welcome our next comedian. I always hope that he comes in with broken things like a broken things Santa. You'll know what I'm talking about once he gets up here. Super Trucker Tim!
How's everybody doing? Ow! Man, how'd you guys like that ice storm? Woo! Crazy. You know, I'm new to Florida. This is my first year here, but so far it reminds me of my marriage. You know, just in one day, it's all sunny and everything's great. And the next second, I'm getting ice thrown at my head. Reminds me of my wife. Anyhow, guys, I wanted to talk to you about trucking. Okay. You know. And I am a trucker, and there's a very unpleasant time of the year. It's where we have to renew our med cards. We call it the Russian experience, the turning cough. And they're never gentle, and I think the only reason they tell you to look away is so you don't know it's coming. Turning cough. Oh, God! You know, and there's legit doctors, and then there's the truck stop doctors. Right? Now the truck stop doctors, guys, I don't care what anybody says. I've seen them pass people that should never pass. I saw a guy get out of his truck, and I'm not picking on the guy. This is just what I saw. He had to be a good 700 pounds, right? He gets out of the truck, and the suspension went up. He has a big old, a 64 ouncer. I didn't even know they made cups that big. Fills it full of Mountain Dew, goes in and gets his med check, and he passes. And I said, no way, right? And this guy, I'm not kidding you guys, he gets in his truck, and he has a heart attack, and he hits the sign of the company he worked for. I am not making this up. So it's not legit at all, and it's a very unpleasant experience. But when I got to talk to my doctor, he says, hey, you know what? You're doing all right. You don't have the standard trucker's physique. I said, trucker's physique? What's that? Oh, an apple on popsicle sticks. You know, he says it looks like you actually get a little activity. I said, yeah, I try to stay in shape. I walk my dog a little bit here and there. But I just walked my dog last week and had a horrible experience, guys. It's called the Marshall Swamp Trail, right? So I take my dog, I'm innocently walking, and this weirdo guy, genuine creeper, starts following me through the woods, me and my dog. Now, here's my biggest problem with that. Do I look like a victim? I mean, do I look like the kind of guy you want to follow in the woods? Because I get the idea most people wouldn't want me following them through the woods. Right? And so I'd be creeped out at myself. So, not to pick on myself, but I look like a guy who would probably have a string quartet of banjo players with me. Right? So anyhow, this guy picks me, right? He picks to follow me. And so I turned around and I said, hey, is there a reason you're following me? And he says, and I said, do you want some of my dog? And he says, I like dogs. I like men too. So I just named this guy. His name is Rasco. Right? I don't ask him his name, but his name is Rasco to me. Now I know what Roscoe's intent was because he just told me. Now, let's say it's sexual or financial or both. And I understand the whole a double bang for a buck, to kill two birds with a stone, right? You're out to do a few things, right? I get that. So Roscoe's following me, and he proceeds to keep on following me. Now, guys, I'm not dumb, okay? Okay, you look like a smart guy, okay? So what do you do if you're walking through the woods and I come up to you and go, hey, bud, I got something I want to show you. Just right over here. You know, I probably don't have lotto tickets. You know, and if I tell you I buried them, well, of course I don't have them. I buried them. And I got to hold the shovel, so you got to use your hands. You're too smart to come over here, right? And let's say another guy, you're walking through the woods and you see another guy and he's down like this. He goes, hey, I sprained my ankle. Can you help me? There's not too many people that would go over there, right? And I'm one of those guys that wouldn't go over there. So that's one reason I'm a bad choice. The other choice is Do I look like I have stacks of hundreds? I'm a truck driver. I don't have any money. My daughter took all my money and my will to live, so I don't even care what kills me. Right? So on top of that, let's say it's sexual. I don't have any of that either. I have nothing. There's nothing for this guy, right? But what he doesn't know about me is I'm a country boy. And I've lived up in the woods, I've hunted my whole life, and I know how to disappear and reappear when I want to. Yeah. So Rasco's following me, and I come up behind him and I said, hey Rasco, don't turn around, don't turn around. He said, let's just say theoretically, these were your last few moments on Earth. Theoretically. What's your fear factor right now? On a 1 to 10 scale. Be honest, because I'm taking notes. And my second question is, I know you know the answer, Rasco. Where's a good place to hide bodies in here? Thanks, guys.
Are y'all still doing okay? I don't care, y'all. Are y'all still doing okay?
Coming to the stage next, a guy that always has something fun in his pants. And showing it off to truck stops around the world. All the way from parts unknown, in the outback somewhere with more fans in the Middle East than spicy chicken. I don't know. I should have written. Just walked in, so I didn't really have a lot of time to come up with a Dingo Jack something or other to add into the Super Trucker Tim thing there. But this guy, if you guys are going to say anything to your friends over the next week or so, it's going to be about this guy, because this guy is so super famous. Look, I have a Facebook page, because I'm old. I don't do the TikTok. I do Facebook because I'm old, right? So this guy has such a following as one name, something like 500,000 people, that it crashed his one Facebook. He had to go and take another entirely different persona. So I'm going to introduce this guy as both of his. I don't even know that either one of them is his actual name. I have no idea, because they are a little bit different. But coming to the stage now, all the way from the rest stop near you, Mr. Super Trucker Tim, a.k.a. Mr. Dingo Jack.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Hey, anybody know one of those jackasses that watches shows on TV and immediately becomes a professional and says, I can do that? It's this guy right here. And I just happened to be watching that show on Netflix called Swamp People, right? And they go to Swamp People, right? Yeah, they go to the Everglades and they're looking for Burmese pythons, you know? And I was thinking, man, how cool would that be? But I need another guy. So Josh is just hearing about this for the first time.
I'm down. I'm down.
He's doing this with me. And so I'm going to give you guys an idea. We're not going to have any training whatsoever. We're not going to do anything.
We find the snake, we kill it.
Yeah. It's just going to be, so it's going to be me and you, and we're gonna go.
What happens in the woods stays in the woods. Don't tell everybody.
Hopefully not us, but so I wanted to give you guys an idea of what this is gonna look like. A little something like this. Well, me and Josh, we going out there to get paid. We going down in the Everglades, going after the python. And Josh, he done got Mr. Bogomil. He reliable because he got the business end of the snake. And we're going to get that snake, and we're going to get paid, right? So that's the idea, guys. That's what it's going to look like. That's what I had in my mind, right? So I'm thinking, I need to do something to start with. So I go out to this trail, and this place is called the Marshall Swamp Trail. And it's just right outside Ocala. And I'm figuring, man, I got to get some kind of practice and familiarity with the swamp. So I go out there, and I start getting followed by this weirdo. This guy just starts creeping on me and stalking me on the trail while I'm walking my dog. I got a problem with that, right? Because my first question is, do I look like a victim? Now, let's negate the fact that I'm 220 pounds and I've got a sidearm so big I almost have to push it around the woods with wheels. Let's negate all that, all right? So I've got this big dog, and he walks up kind of close, and I say to him, hey, you want some of my dog? And he says, I like dogs. I like men too.
Woo!
So now we know, I named him. Right when he said that, I didn't ask him his name because I named him. His new name is Rasco, right? Rasco in the swamp. And I looked at him. We know what Rasco's intentions are right now. They're both sexual and more than likely for money. Now I understand the whole two birds with one stone, more bang for your buck, one-stop shopping idea. But the thing about this, why I'm a bad victim choice, do I look like I've got stacks of hundreds? And if he wants the sex thing, I don't have much of that either, right? And I don't have a will to live. If he thinks he's gonna threaten me with that, I'm gonna say, dude, my daughter took all my money and my will to live a long time ago. You're too late. If you say I'm gonna kill you, I'm probably gonna say, really? Is that a promise? But maybe it's my fault. Maybe I exude the presence of an easy rape victim. Maybe it's my fault. And my wife says, you know, you don't come across as too intelligent. So I'm listening to her and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm a little smarter than that. I'm almost as smart as most of you, right? So, sir, let me ask you a question. If you run into me out in the woods and I look a lot more creepy than I even do now, and I said to you, hey, come on over here, I want to show you something. It's just right over here. I think it's a pretty fair bet I don't have lotto tickets. And you know that. And if I say, well, of course I buried the lotto tickets, that's why you don't see them, but I got to hold the shovel. You got to use your hand. You're not going to fall for that, right? Okay, now, Mr. Bogomil, if I say to you, and you're coming through the woods, and I look at you and I say, hey, I sprained my ankle. Can you help me? I don't see you coming over here to help me. You know something is not right.
Yeah.
So
No, I'm actually a very willing victim.
So that's my problem, is I don't understand why this guy saw me as a potential victim. Now, as long as serial killers in the woods have a lack of hygiene and an overabundance of body hair, I'm safe. I'm not going to fall for it. But the minute that serial killers start looking like thick Latinas with C cups, you're probably going to see my missing poster on a national park billboard somewhere. But fortunately, I don't know too many serial killers that look like that. But here's a thought for you guys. The worst serial killer isn't going to let you linger more than 2 days, right? Once he gets his thrill, he's going to get bored at some point. He's finally going to finish you off. The Latina, though, on the other hand, she could make you linger for a lifetime of torture and suffering, and may even marry you and extend it out for an overabundance of time. So you answer me this question, in reality, who really is more humane between a serial killer or a chick? And here's another thing I'm thinking of too, guys, is once we understand, well, I think it's fair to say that Rasco doesn't have my best interests at heart. In fact, it's probably safe to venture that Rasco is a danger to society. But once we understand that, it makes for a much more polite dinner conversation. For example, you understand that a shark doesn't make a good pet. You're not going to get a lot of love from a shark. And once we have an understanding of what Rasco's point of view is, maybe we can cut him some slack. Thanks, guys.
Good job.
Mr. Super Trucker Tim, aka Dingo Jack. We have such new talent coming in the building. Can't even hardly stand it.
Look at this, how many people?
Redneck Jim or whatever they call us here too.
Going up?
Phenomenal job. Coming back to the stage now, Mr. Super Trucker Tim.
Joke number 2.
Is because, I don't know if you guys know about this, but every 2 years, a trucker has to go in and get a med card updated, and you have to get a medical checkup. Guys, I'm talking about the ones that are entitled, right? The kind that go into a lawyer's office or a doctor's office, and there's the jar that says, "Candies, please take one." She reaches in and grabs it, and the lady says, "Oh, excuse me, miss, you're just supposed to take one." She says, "I did take one handful." The entitled people. That's what I don't like, right? Where the world is their oyster, or their pack of oysters, and they think that you owe them everything. That's what I have a problem with. And I like to call these ladies of the world crystals. Like you call a Karen for a reason. A crystal makes a Karen look like lights of the world. Mentors. Very helpful. Crystals are nasty people, mean, horrible, right? And I want this so embedded in our society that when you go to a white neighborhood, they say, "Hey, I had to deal with a crystal at the minute market. Yeah, she was horrible." You go into a black neighborhood and they say, I met up with the damn crystal. And when I go to Tokyo, Japan, I want to hear, "Oh, Crystal is an asshole." Right? That's how much I want Crystal embedded into our society as the ultimate jerk lady. All right, thanks, guys.
Tim, I was thinking you said lot lizard, but yet she's a really big lady. I'm like lot Godzilla, king of the lot lizards. That's what that is.
This one apparently is the favorite of most of the folks that were polled. So you guys have like a 1 in 10 chance of winning. There's no cash tonight, so it's just, that's it. You should have seen how many. Well, we do 50-50 often at our shows, and that's when you would win this, but today it's just for 469.
Yeah, I got 69.
All right, bring it.
Oh, man.
470.
Wait, everybody hold on to your tickets. We have to verify because this lion bastard here coming to the stage might not actually have the one that he needs because, well, he had asked me for one of the posters and then he was going to leave. And I told him to stay around for 15 more minutes and maybe he'd win one. And
Got one more?
we have another poster. You can't win second time because you only have one fucking ticket.